Hey guys, a very good evening to all of you, and I've almost set the board. Now we're going for the class. So, as taking the class from my home, I do understand that in this case, you must be thinking that how Vineet Sir is managing all these things. Anyway, so once again, a very good evening to all of you, and today's topic is the modern age of English literature. This is the topic today. बहुत सारे students are scared of modern age. Many of you are scared of modern age. Sometimes you wonder what is modern age. So having one of my another device, I want to see if I'm visible or not. Okay, the camera is clear, board is clear. Okay, now what not clear is my face, right? Not having a lot of light. Anyway, doesn't matter. What matters is knowledge. So, the modern age of English literature. Now, let's get back to the modern age. Most of the students are scared of modern age. So, I must tell you this thing that modern stage age starts by 1901. Then it has some connection to 1930. Then it goes to 1945. So, in most of the books written by the Indian authors, you must have seen this thing that the modern age is from 1901 to 1945. I will tell you this thing that 1901 to 1945 and also the 1890 to 1901, the timings of these things. So let's go for the details one by one, and somewhere I will be bilingual for my Hindi students. I'll also go for the same lines in English. This last 10 year, the timing of the last 10 year, they are actually known as the early moderns. The early moderns. Because the last 10 years of the Victorian age, actually it was the most happening age. A lot of things were happening, a lot of new developments were happening, wars, conditions, rise of industrialization and extreme level of industrialization, then labor laws, then there were different kind of wars were going on. So this was actually a time that the last 10 years are the most happening years. This 10 years duration has been famously called the nervous 90s. Early moderns actually starts from here. In basic books, you will read from 1901 to 1945. This is advanced level lecture. So these 10 years, the last one, they are equally important. You must be knowing this thing that at this particular time, science fiction started. So a lot of writers writing science fiction, Bulwer Lytton, H.G. Wells, they were writing science fiction. Now see this thing, when we enter in 1901, so why people don't talk about 1890s? It is just because Queen Victoria, she dies by 1901. So for the normalization, they simply go for the roundabout date. So 1901 is actually the end of Victorian era. It is end of Victorians. Queen Victoria died, right? 1837 to 1901, if you remember my lectures. So that's the reason that Victorians come to an end. There is an official stop of Victorians and we start moderns. Now, the time duration from 1901 to 30 and 1945. All the students who are preparing for top level entrance exams, NET, CUET, PG and all, you must and you should know this thing. A famous quotation in 1910, human character change, a question of NET exam, and very important thing, a basic concept. In 1910, human character change. This is actually a beautiful line by Virginia Woolf. This is a beautiful line by Virginia Woolf. In 1910, human character changed. The question is, Virginia Woolf goes for 1910 and says human character changed. So can we say that the famous writer Virginia Woolf was actually talking about the modern age? Virginia Woolf said this thing that in 1910 human character changed. So can we say that Virginia Woolf has actually mentioned this thing that by 1910 the modern age started? This is how I teach. I don't need graphics. I can teach with pen and board, right? See, the point is, Let's get back to this point. This is actually a question of net exam, so let's get back to this point. In 1910, human character changed, right? Virginia Woolf says that in 1910 human character changed, but that doesn't mean that somebody was in the house and that person ran out and went to the gardens to see that wow, everything changed. No, it was not a sudden change, but yes, the change was visible, the change was gradual. Means what does she want to say? She says हमें महसूस हो रहा था कि बदलाव हो रहा है. तो ये चेंज ऐसे नहीं है कि कोई अपने ड्राइंग रूम में बैठा है, भाग के बाहर गया गार्डन में और जाके देखा सब कुछ चेंज है. इट वॉज नॉट अ सडन चेंज, इट वॉज अ ग्रेजुअल चेंज. धीरे धीरे चीजें बदल रही थी. देन वर्जीनिया वुल्फ सेज, सो लेट्स अज्यूम, so she says, let's assume the human character changed in 1910. So that's the reason she says, to be at safe side, let's assume the 1910 human character changed. 1910 human character changed. Now I got the answer. Okay. Now the other conditions. The other conditions of this, that in 1901 to 1930, the World War I conditions, the pre-World War I, pre-World War I conditions. What is pre-World War I conditions? You know, when I was studying English literature, I already had knowledge of GK. I used to study and prepare for my army exams. I've qualified combined defense services. बहुत कम स्टूडेंट्स को पता है कि मैं 3 बार CDS क्वालिफाइड हूं और 5 बार SSB कॉन्फ्रेंस आउट हूं. बहुत कम स्टूडेंट को पता है. जितने लोगों ने SSB दिया है, CDS दिया, उनको पता होगा. Now see this thing, pre World War conditions. 1905, Japan defeated Russia. Italy was defeated by Ethiopia. In the small countries were defeating big countries. How is that possible that the small countries are defeating the big countries? Because the rise of machine guns, the rise of cannons, the rise of mortar fire, machine gun fire, all these things made easy for the small countries to defeat the bigger countries. Japan defeated Russia in 1905. Ethiopia defeated Italy in 1905. The condition was going on, and you all know that these conditions actually resulted in World War I, 1914 to 1918. World War I, 1914 to 1918. Now, 1914 to 1981, the World War I was highly celebrated by everyone. The World War I got celebrated by everyone. Everyone praised it. People talked about this. They thought that it is connected to valor, it is connected to patriotism, it is connected to our nation. One of the greatest writer, Rupert Brooke, the famous war poet, Rupert Brooke, W.B. Yeats called him the most handsome man. W.B. Yeats called him most handsome poet. Rupert Brooke. Who is Rupert Brooke? War poet. Do you know there is a war poetry system? War poetry. He was a war poet. He wrote a very famous work. He talks about the role of soldiers, how soldiers die, and he says, as a soldier, if I die in my fighting for my country, wherever I am buried, that land will become England. I will always be there. My body, my graveyard, it will all become England. So he says that as a soldier, if I'm fighting for England and I die abroad, I'm buried over there. So that six feet grave, it will have my blood, my body, and it will become England because my blood has England. What a patriotic work, you know. So these kind of works were highly celebrated. Now you all know that celebrating the war is a different thing, and actually facing the war is a different thing. So when 1918 World War came to an end, the result was scary. The result was really scary. Why? You all know what happened. Germany got defeated, then humiliation of Germany, the wall of Berlin, Berlin ki diwar khis di gayi. Everything went like that. And what happens here? 1918 result, the result of the World War I was disastrous because it actually planted the seeds of World War II, आपको पता है जर्मनी की इतनी बेइज्जती की गई थी ना, that जर्मनी में every German, the Germans were humiliated like this that the Germans decided to fight back. किसी को इतना भी जलील मत करो कि वो सब कुछ छोड़ के लड़ने पे आ जाए. What was the reason of the rise of Hitler? Humiliation of Germany. जर्मनी को इतना ह्यूमिलिएट किया था. When Hitler came, he started promising everyone that I may not bring food for you, I may not bring water for you, but I'll get back your self-respect. He promised all the Germans. उसने कहा जर्मनी का खोया हुआ आत्मसम्मान आपकी स्पिरिट तोड़ दी है. Your spirit is broken. You have lost your spirit. You have lost your self-respect. I will bring it back. Technically, the World War I actually planted the seeds of World War II. Now, between that gap, something very disastrous comes, and that was 1930s Great Depression. Most of the students who are preparing for UGCNET exam or top level entrance exam, they do not know that even there is a genre called Great Depression novels or the Great Depression literature. क्या आपको पता है ग्रेट डिप्रेशन नॉवेल्स भी होते हैं? यस, जॉन स्टेनबेक इज अ फेमस राइटर. बहुत अच्छे वर्क्स आते हैं. इवन परलेस बक हैज आल्सो रिटन अबाउट दीज थिंग्स. ग्रेट डिप्रेशन नॉवेल्स इन 1930s. व्हाट हैपेंड in 1930s? The failure of Wall Street crash. Wall Street crash. A rumor resulted in the crash of the Wall Street, the world's biggest and the most trusted stock market. एक झूठी खबर और स्टॉक मार्केट नीचे गिर गया. रातों रात जो ₹1 की चीज थी वो ₹1000 की हुई. The stock market collapsed. The collapse of Wall Street, it made ₹1 toffee, ₹1 candy of 1000 by the same night. By the night there was a price hike. Purchasing a chapati became impossible because of this thing, this sudden fall of these the stocks. Great Depression, it killed more people than the World War killed. It is a study, it is a survey that Great Depression killed more people than the World War. Now, England during the time of Great Depression, facing the crisis, started using India and other colonies to pay back for these things. So when England was also in loss and other countries were in loss, they started using their colonies. And this was also the time that by 1930, Gandhiji started Satyagraha, the Namak Andolan, then other different things. So all these things were happening together, and almost when they were coming out of the shock of the World War I and the Great Depression, World War II started 1939 to 1945. World War II. W.H. Auden has written a famous work. W.H. Auden has written a famous work, September 1, 1939. This is a poetry. September 1, 1939 is a poetry that I have taught in my classes. September 1, 1939, W.H. Auden starts like this. I am scared, uncertain, sitting in the 50-second dive. There's a question in NET exam that what do you mean by the word dive? He says, I'm sitting in a dive. What do you mean by dive? This is also your homework. You will check it. Okay, this is your homework. Uncertain, afraid, clever hopes of future expired today. This is the night of darkness. We can see the skyscrapers. We can see the airplanes. We can see the warning bells. He actually describes the evening of the World War. जिस दिन World War शुरू हुआ था, उसकी शाम के बारे में इसने लिखा है. बहुत अच्छा वर्क लिखा है. W.H. Auden and others talked about these World War situations. World War II novels also have their own genre, and you all know that how the World War ended in 1945. Japan and USA, America, United States of America. You know the war. Actually, United States of America was not participating in war. America, as usual, was making money. America क्या करता है? America इधर भी हथियार बेचता है, उधर भी हथियार बेचता है. America sells weapons. Nowadays, you know Israel and Hamas, they are fighting. Do you know the background story that Hamas has been created by Israel as America created Laden? Laden was created by America to break Russia. Hamas itself has been created by Israel to fight Hezbollah. Now, what America is doing? Giving a lot of arms and ammunition to Israel and giving a lot of arms and ammunition to Lebanon, to Hamas and Palestinians. In short, business. It's business, right? America was doing business by helping the allies. Japan didn't like it. जापान को लगा कि बहुत बिजनेस कर रहा है, लेट्स अटैक. सो यू ऑल नो व्हाट एक्चुअली हैपेंड, द पर्ल हार्बर अटैक. ज्यादा जानकारी के लिए मूवी देखें, यूट्यूब पे पर्ल हार्बर आप क्लिप भी देख सकते हैं. Pearl Harbor, early morning, Japanese soldiers, they went in Kajikama style. What is Kajikama style? Where the pilots know that this is the last flight and they will never return. So, sorry, it's kamikaze, not Kajikama, it's kamikaze. Kamikaze attack. So, what is the last attack they do? They use their planes to crash. So, Japanese fighter pilots took their planes in a kamikaze style and took the planes to attack. Thousands of Americans got killed. The Japanese general gave a statement that we have awoken the sleeping giant. हमने सोते हुए राक्षस को जगा दिया. So America actually joined the war. And why America joined the war? Because it is Japan, it troubled America. So when the America joins the war, you know the Yanks are damn good with their weapons, and the same thing happens here. The Yanks came with atom bomb. ये सारी चीजें एक साथ modern age से connected हैं. You must be thinking that why sir is teaching history? Why not literature? The smart students will understand that I have taken reference of W.H. Auden, Rupert Brooke and many others. Modern age is not easy to describe. Modern literature is not easy to describe until unless you understand all the scenarios. सारे scenarios एक साथ होंगे. Then only you'll understand. So atom bomb and the world got shocked. जापान के साथ बहुत गलत हुआ. I don't support violence. Nagasaki, Hiroshima, you all know what happened. Japan surrendered, unconditional surrender. But what was the message to the world? That life is not safe, life is not sure. And from 1945, the atom bomb thing resulted in existentialism, the another literary style, existentialism. Also, the most important thing, postmoderns, the absurdity. Why this absurdity? Just think about this thing. You are preparing for NET exam or CUET PG exam. I am teaching you here in my house. Your future, you think you have a future, right? You will become assistant professor. You will have a great salary. You'll get married to good person. Then you will have peaceful life, like, right? I'm working hard so that I can earn, I can survive, I can do my duties, right? Do we have surety about future? क्या आपका भविष्य, मेरा भविष्य सेफ है? गारंटी है that okay sir, we have safety, surety? No. There are people, they are ready to play nuclear football. Few days back, a few months back, when Trump and Kim Jong were attacking each other, Kim Jong said that I have the nuclear button on my table. Donald Trump said, I have a bigger button than yours. Kim Jong again said, answered, your thumb is small, so maybe the button looks big. And then Kejriwal said, button कोई भी दबाओ जी, वोट तो बीजेपी को जाएगा. But you know, your future, my future is in hands of two cynicals, two whimsical people who are saying, I have the button, I have the button. What is the value of your life? What's your value? Now, a few months back, Russia and America for Ukraine. I was hearing both of these guys. Joe Biden said a beautiful line. It was sensational. He said, when Russia and USA fire at each other, when Russia and USA fire at each other, we will be in different world. Yes, it's reality. अमेरिका और रशिया जिस दिन आपस में एक दूसरे पे अटैक करेंगे ना, डायरेक्ट अटैक, दुनिया बदल जाएगी. 5,000 न्यूक्लियर लेके बैठे, 5,000 प्लस न्यूक्लियर. So when Russia and USA fire at each other, you at home, I am here in Delhi. हम लोग यहाँ, our lives will be destroyed. So why I'm doing this? Why are you studying when your life, my life has no value? That's why the postmodern absurdity, the existentialism, it all came everywhere. And the rise of beat generation, the people who believed in this thing that just live, enjoy, do drugs, beat generation. जीवन का कोई मतलब नहीं है, लाइफ के मजे लो बस. द कार्pe diem philosophy, it came. You know what was the reply of Vladimir Putin? He said, we cannot fight NATO. NATO is bigger than us. But surely there will be no winners. उसने कहा कि हाँ, हमसे NATO ज्यादा पावरफुल है. हालांकि वो मजाक कर रहा था. NATO is nothing in front of Russia. NATO is 30 countries, including USA. But what did he say? He said, there will be no winners. कोई नहीं जीतेगा. तुम भी जाओगे, हम भी जाएंगे. हम तो डूबेंगे सनम, तुम्हें लेके डूबेंगे. The message is this, that after 1945, the postmodern age, the postmodern literature, the absurdity, chaos, confusion, crisis, it comes. Now, I believe you must have understood the most important conditions, scenes, events that have shaped our modern age. Now, along with these things, the other things which are very important. Voting rights for women. 1920s suffrage movement. If you don't know these things, it means you are not prepared for exam. Voting rights, 1920s suffrage movement, a movement to get voting rights for women. Voting rights for women. It was also a change in modern life. Please remember what is suffrage movement 1920. Voting rights for women. Then the another thing, the rise of blocks and apartment culture. The blocks and apartment culture. In villages, there was a simple system that people used to live in streets, normally arranged houses with no structure at all. Blocks, colonies, housing boardings numbers, building numbers, tower numbers, apartment culture came. So you are living 40 people in the same building, but you have different plots and you have locked your doors. This thing actually came. England was divided into multiple blocks and multiple colonies. Then HMS Titanic, the unsinkable, this was called unsinkable. कभी नहीं डूबेगा ये. Unsinkable ship. Man's greatest success, that we have conquered ocean, we have commanded the ocean. They forgot Lord Byron. इन्हें Lord Byron याद नहीं था. Lord Byron ने कहा था, there is a pleasant pathless word. There he says that man thinks he has commanded ocean, but he runs to his gods with just one wave, one shower. समुद्र की एक बड़ी लहर आ जाए, एक heavy rain हो जाए, man runs to his gods. Byron said man thinks he has commanded oceans because he has 10,000 fleets. These are the lines from the poetry. He runs to his gods with one wave, one shower. एक सुनामी आई, क्या कर लिया हमने? एक तेज बारिश हो जाए, क्या कर लिया हमने? So, Titanic, people said it is unsinkable. And why it was unsinkable? Because this was the structure of Titanic. 3-layered base of Titanic. 3 layers. Impossible to sink. The metal layer, the metal layer, the metal layer. Nothing that can break it. No way to get, no way of water entering it from the base, and that's why the unsinkable city floating on the waves, floating on the water. Now, tell me this thing: when actually Titanic, which was a victory of man over nature, when did it sink? कब डूबा ये? On the maiden journey. Maiden journey. What is maiden journey? The first journey. पहली ही जर्नी में टाइटैनिक डूब गया. मूवी देखी होगी आपने, आई एम श्योर, एंड आई एम श्योर शिप के डूबने की वजह से देखी होगी, किसी पेंटिंग की वजह से नहीं देखी होगी. बट first ever journey, the maiden journey, and Titanic, there was a kind of accident, an iceberg, it broke Titanic, and Titanic, the unsinkable ship, sank within 2 hours. 2 घंटे में डूब गया था. 2 घंटे में टूट के अलग होके डूब गया. 2 hours. Now how it is connected to literature? अरे यार विनीत सर कैसे पढ़ाते हैं? विनीत सर तो कोई राइटर नहीं बोल रहे हैं, पोइट्री नहीं बोल रहे हैं, क्योंकि जो सिर्फ राइटर और पोइट्री पढ़ा रहा होगा उसको खुद नहीं पता होगा मॉडर्न एज होती क्या है. ध्यान से देखो. नाउ approx 3,000 people died, approx, in this. Who were these people? Who were these people? Who were these people? 3,000. Let's say 700 approx. 700 people were the crew. Then approx, or let's say it's 2,000 plus people. Who are these people? ये कौन है? ये कौन है? This has your answer. Who are these people? Approx 2,000 people. The poor man, the labor class, the victimized woman, people struggling to eat enough, or the super rich people who could have bought the tickets of Titanic on the maiden journey. टाइटैनिक का पहला जो फर्स्ट एवर जर्नी है, उसमें इतिहास बनाने के लिए कौन लोग टिकट खरीद सकते थे? Who could have bought the tickets? Poor class, middle class, upper class, or the elite class? Who are these people? The elite class. These people are the richest people of England and world. So they were Hollywood heroes. Then barons, the rich, earls, politicians, maybe the cricketers of that time. Everybody was a real filthy rich. That means, what I want to say is that in your country, 2,000 richest people die all of a sudden. England became leaderless. No leaders left in any field. From all the field, the great rich people, they all died, which resulted in chaos. It resulted in anarchy. It was also a setback for the human psyche that you are nobody in front of the nature. आप कोई नहीं है. Collectively, all these things, including the Ford cars, then the Wright brothers who got the planes, the gliders, all these people collectively worked together. Everything was happening. In every sector, something was happening. And here we get to know the most important and famous slogan of the man who has a birthday today. Ezra Pound का birthday है आज. Ezra Pound has a birthday. The slogan is make it new. Make it new. This is the slogan by Ezra Pound. Ezra Pound has a birthday today. Ezra Pound ko happy birthday bolo. Ezra Pound was the guide of T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot, who wrote Wasteland in 1922 in the magazine The Criterion. The Wasteland has been dedicated and edited by Ezra Pound. It is dedicated to Ezra Pound. It is edited by Ezra Pound. T.S. Eliot wrote the famous name phrase Il Miglior Fabbro. Question of exams. Il Miglior Fabbro, the name given to Ezra Pound by T.S. Eliot. The English meaning of this line means better craftsman. Better craftsman. This is the title that has been given to Ezra Pound by T.S. Eliot for writing Wasteland. I believe you must have understood modern age. Now we will talk about the characteristics of modern literature. अब हम characteristics की बात करेंगे. Take screenshots. Those who are learning for the first time, don't forget to subscribe the button. If you want to subscribe educational channels. गाने वाने वाले तो बहुत लोग करते हैं, कॉमेडी चैनल्स बहुत लोग करते हैं, पढ़ाई वाला कौन कौन सब्सक्राइब करता है? If you love the presentation, and it is my home, so bad lights are there, it is not my studio. Pardon me for bad lights, pardon me for dark face, but then subscribe and like the video for at least trying from home, right? And what matters is this board. You can see the fonts, you can hear my voice. So if my face even is not, and I should apply Fair and Lovely, right? Siska light, light लगाने से चेहरा गोरा हो जाता है ना. That is also the part of modern age. Let's go for modern literary traits. Traits of modern literature. All the students, if you like the content, if you love the content, please like the video. अगर पढ़ने में मजा आया और लगा कि यार कोई तो है जो ऐसे पढ़ा सकता है, वीडियो लाइक करना. Modern literature traits की बात करते हैं. So first thing and the most important thing that my dear friend you must know is the idea of sexuality. I could have written the idea of barrenness, hollowness, the idea of the question spirituality. But in modern literature, the first thing that was getting discussed, which was not getting discussed earlier, is the sexuality. The idea of sexuality. T.S. Eliot, the most important man, Lawrence, then T.S. Eliot, Sean O'Casey, Ezra Pound, and etc. Many people, right? Lawrence is the father figure of this type. D.S. Lawrence is the first man who started talking about these things, the idea of sexuality running in the family. He becomes the first man to study these things. Then, I will teach you D.S. Lawrence, Sons and Lovers in detail because I teach the same thing to UPSC students. So I'll come back to the topic. Then, the idea of early feminism, rising feminism. The idea of early feminism, rising feminism. So, the literature of awareness. Primarily, two types of literature. Marxism, feminism. So here we have Virginia Woolf, here we have Frederick Engel, Karl Marx, their books got promoted, Norman Mailer, Hilary Mailer, these writers are there. Then comes the questioning, or you can simply write like this, spirituality. The question of spirituality. They started questioning spirituality. Primarily T.S. Eliot, W.B. Yeats, modernization, the idea of change. Then the next one we have is modern day life. Many writers started dealing with modern day life, modern development, day-to-day things, which is the part of imagist poetry, clear, verbose images. They used to use proper wordings, and most of the modern writers were dealing with symbolism. बहुत सारे writers ऐसे थे जो symbolism में आके deal कर रहे थे. Then comes the idea of occult. some of these writers were the member of occult. Do you know, how many of you know that, or you know it, that W.B. Yeats was very much involved in occult? Occult is somewhere connected to black magic, some ritual, some practice which is oriental. W.B. Yeats was very much connected to black magic thing because he was in love with Maud Gonne and he tried everything to get his love. अखबार में पढ़ा है ना, मन चाहा प्यार प्राप्त करें, वशीकरण मंत्र, सौतन से छुटकारा. So W.B. Yeats tried those things occult में, and he was introduced to occult by a woman called Mohini Chatterjee. Those who didn't know it, please like the video if you respect knowledge. अगर जिंदगी में knowledge की value है, W.B. Yeats को मोहिनी चैटर्जी ने occult में introduce किया था. Now comes the most important point. W.B. Yeats has written a poetry, Mohini Chatterjee. The name of the poetry is Mohini Chatterjee. He mentions her as a Brahmin woman from India. Mohini Chatterjee is not only his friend, there is also a poetry with the name. W.B. Yeats, in many of his works, has used numbers. In Lake Isle of Innisfree, he says, I will have 9 rows of beans. Then, in Wild Swans at Cooley, he says, I will have 59 swans. Then, in Sailing to Byzantium, he talks about 700, 770 years, 7 months, 7 days, and so on. Occult, numerology, W.B. Yeats was interested in that. Just like that, there are many other writers who are interested in these things. In modern age, the writing style is verbose. They have multiple narrators. So sometimes the narrators are many. For example, one of the old reference, taking the old reference, Wuthering Heights, old reference. Please remember, this is not the modern reference, just taking the old reference. Wuthering Heights, this is E, this is I. Wuthering Heights has 2 narrators. First one, Mr. Lockwood. Second one, Nellie Dean. So just like that, in moderns, we have multiple narratives. For example, in moderns, if you take the example, then we can go for The Sound and the Fury. The Sound and the Fury, written by Faulkner. William Faulkner wrote Sound and the Fury. The title has been taken from Macbeth Act 5, Scene 5. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury and signifying nothing. That title has been taken, this title has been taken from Macbeth, Act 5, Scene 5. It has 4 narrators. How many narrators? 4 narrators. Then As I Lay Dying by same writer has 16 narrators. Then Unreliable narrator, Omniscient narrator, Shifting narratives, then many other modern terms, pastiche, portmanteau, then there is a word that I have missed. I missed one of the words. Fragmentation. These kind of words are there. All of these are the terminologies of moderns and postmoderns. The paranoia concept, the order in disorder concept. Now, what I believe is that you must have enjoyed the lecture. Now comes the part of information for all of you. First thing, the crash course is starting from 1st November. Please see that. अगर इस स्टाइल में पढ़ना है और बहुत जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ना है, 1st November crash course start हो रहा है. The fees for crash course is 8,500. But in this, you will get crash course till December 2023. Now please see, and next batch free. So please see that. Crash course 1st November fresh batch. It will have 3 AM session also. Exclusive session 3 AM. 8,500 fees. Crash course. We will teach you most exclusive important topics, theories, linguistics, postmodern literature, postmodern theories, absurds for exam. and after exam you will be the member of fresh batch. So in case you didn't qualify, you don't have to pay again. This fees, it will be accepted till June 2024. So if you want to study under my guidance, if you want to learn from my experience of 10 net, this is the time. Now the question comes, how to join? I'll make it easy for you. I'll make it very easy for you. How to join? ज़्यादा एफर्ट नहीं लगाने, ज़्यादा परेशान नहीं होना है. You don't have to call people, you don't have to discuss. Just see this thing. ध्यान से देखो, बहुत अच्छे से नजर आएगा. This is the number. It has Google Pay, it has Phone Pay, and it has Paytm. Check this number. 8,500 transaction. Send screenshot here only. Screenshot भेज दो, अपना नाम लिखो, अपनी MA percentage, or if you are in MA, just do the basic thing. They will add you. This is the academic number. Many people have the access of this number, so they will check it, they will add you. So don't miss that. And all the old online batch students, there is a proper offer going for all of you. If you are old student, you want to give a try once again. आपने अभी एक मूवी भी देखी होगी, रीस्टार्ट कर. So if you are going for restart, all the old online batch students, you also have the best offer of renewal batch. Go for renewal and get next 6 months free of cost in same fees. This is your time. So see you all. I believe I have done justice with my lecture. I'll improve because I know some lighting issues are there. But for a true learner, the lighting doesn't matter. What matters is the content and the voice of the teacher. You could see the board. You could hear my voice. So if you are a JRF material just like Arjun, you will see the target. I hope you enjoyed this thing. Listen to the lecture once again so that when you have to teach your students in your universities, you are damn prepared with modern age. Next lecture will be on post-modern introductions, post-modern theories. I will teach you all the theories. Pastiche पढ़ाऊंगा, portmanteau पढ़ाऊंगा, oblique narration पढ़ाऊंगा, क्या बोलते हैं मेटाफिक्शन जो है आपको वो पढ़ाऊंगा. एंड अलॉन्ग विद दीज देयर आर मेनी थिंग्स रिलेटेड टू द नैरेशंस. जो बहुत सारे शिफ्टिंग नैरेटिव्स हैं, कितने टाइप के नैरेटिव्स होते हैं, पैरानोइया क्या होता है, कौन कौन सी बुक्स में यू हैव दीज थिंग्स. I'll teach you all these things. I'll teach you 6 characters in search of author. I'll teach you the prime of Miss Jean Brodie. I'll teach you long day journey into the night. And I'll also teach you the Saturday night and the Sunday morning. All the post-modern cult classic. Chicklit क्या होता है, ladlit क्या होता है. I'll teach you all these things. Campus novels क्या होते हैं. See you in the next class. Thank you so much.